You know, I like that dart because the first time I taught, thank you, and I was very nervous, and I was giving my students assignment, a speech assignment. I said, you know, it's going to be 7 minutes, and one student said, you know, what if we go longer than 7 minutes? And I wasn't as nice as Todd. I said, well, if you go longer than 7 minutes, I'm going to cut you up. And my student, and I said, oh, and my student said, nobody in this class is going to go longer than 7 minutes, but I may, because I had some good news to share, and it just happened while I was on the way here. I stopped by at my mailbox, and guess what? I'm going to be your newly naturalized U.S. citizen. Yeah! So don't cut me up, please. And I'm celebrating because, you know, if you know me, I have 2 small children. They always come to my reading, and this is the only time they can come to my reading. So I'm going to read something that I've never read before. So this is an old novel, so I'm just going to introduce one of these characters. He's 18 and he's good for nothing. The problem was then how to find a woman. Apart from his grandmother, Bashi had little luck with other women. Older ones, those his grandmother's or his mother's age, used him as a warning for their offspring. They would be too ashamed to meet their ancestors after their deaths if it turned out that they would have to endure a son or grandson like Bashi. These comments, often loud enough for Bashi to hear, were directed at those children who needed a cautionary tale. Younger women of a suitable age for marriage avoided Bashi as a swan princess in the folk tale would avoid the toad. It was Bashi's belief that he needed to gain more knowledge of a woman's body before he could gain access to her heart. But who among the young women looking at him despisingly would open up her secret to him? Bashi's hope now lay with much younger girls. He had already made several attempts offering little girls from different neighborhoods candies, but none of them had agreed to go with him into the high grasses by the riverbank. Even worse, one of the girls told her parents, and they gave him a good beating and spread the news around so that wherever he went now, he felt that people with daughters were keeping a watchful eye on him. The little girls made up a song about him, calling him a wolf and a skunk and a girl chasing eel. He was not offended. Rather, he liked to walk into girls' circles in the middle of their games, and he would smile when they chanted the song to his face. He imagined taking them one by one to a secret bush and studying what he needed to study with them. And he smiled more delightedly, since none of the girls would ever have guessed what could have been happening to them at that very moment. These young girls singing for him in their fine, lovely voices. So that's your lovely Bashi. And eventually he found a girl, 12 years old. So he liked to tell her stories. So this is one story he told her. His father was a war hero in Korean War, you know, fighting against America, and he died later. War hero is rubbish. You know how he was recruited? They came to my father's village and said they would invite all the young men to a house for dinner. Well, if someone invited you to dinner with a gun at your head, you would go, wouldn't you? So my father went along with some other young people, and they were treated to a very good dinner and then invited to sit on a big brick bed. A boy soldier kept the fire burning under the bed, adding wood, so that in a short time the brick bed became very hot. Like a barbecue plate, you see? And the officer said, "Young man, we are the People's Liberation Army, and we fight for the people. Think about it. If you're interested in our cause, come down and you'll become a glorious member among us. Nobody moved. Of course, all their parents had warned them not to join the army. They said that the Communist Army would not enlist someone at gunpoint like the Nationalist Army. And yes, it was true that the officer was very polite. He kept telling the boy soldier to make the brick bed warmer for the guests, and an orderly kept bringing them hot tea and more tobacco leaves for their pipes. Now tell me, what would you do? Move? Or stay on the bed to have your ass burned? So after a long time, my father couldn't stand the heat and came off the bed. He was the first one, so he got higher rank than his companions. And later they sent him to learn how to fly fighter planes. The rest of them became foot soldiers and orderlies. They all came off then. All except one, my father's best buddy. His bottom was so badly burned that he was called hot butt for the rest of his life. Nini smiled. Bashi often told stories, and she could never tell which part was true and which was from his imagination. Why? You don't believe me? Ask anyone in my father's village. They said my father was clever because he came off the bed early and got the biggest promotion, but where did that get him? On the other hand, Hot Butt didn't end up in a better place. He was executed for sabotage in '59. He and my father died within a month of each other. They said my father was caught by his best friend's ghost. What does that tell you? Nini shook her head. There's only one place for everyone to go.